Here we go. Play it. Oh my god. Oh, that was awesome.
Okay, we do.
No, that's fine. Lower the volume, dude.
What?
Lower the volume. Okay, here we go.
Sorry, I can't hear you over Savio Vega's theme.
Oh, the most awesome theme that ever have been created by James Johnston. Okay, SummerSlam '97, 2 decades in. We were supposed to do a review a month ago, but because of schedule conflicts, we couldn't do it. So we're gonna do this now, and Ground Zero is gonna come up soon. So, okay, SummerSlam '97. Adam, how's it going?
Yes. It's going well.
Okay. Where were you when SummerSlam '97 took place?
I was a mere 16 years old, and I was actually present at the Continental Airlines Arena in East Rutherford, aka the Meadowlands, New Jersey. And I was there in the arena watching the live action. It was quite the experience. It was definitely a experience I will not forget for a long time. It was a fun show.
Nice. Apparently the attendance was 20,213. I don't know if that's true. Because you know how WWE tends to
Kayfabe.
Yeah, of course they overstate the attendance. But when you were there, did it feel like there were 20,000 people?
It definitely did. I remember being out. Do you mind if I give you like a little backdrop of the show?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. Well, it was really cool because first of all, they turned the entire parking lot into a beach.
Nice.
And well, not the entire parking lot, but a part of the parking lot into a beach. And they had like this giant blow up taker thing. And
when you say blow up taker, one thing can come to mind.
Anatomically correct.
Right.
Yeah, they had a anatomically correct Mark Calloway in the parking lot. Just picture that now, folks.
I can hear Road Dogg somewhere, and he's like, bring that over to the hotel.
Black Road Dogg.
You'll get it once we get to 98.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay. Spoiler.
Yeah.
And no, it was really cool because they had they had a steel drum band, and that was really cool. And I was with my friend Paul Spinella, and his little brother Joe Spinella, who is probably not listening to this because I haven't talked to him in like 10 years.
Yeah, but Spinella, I don't know. When I hear Spinella, I think of a pizza place.
Or a bakery. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I'd like to have the bear claw.
Why is that? Why is Vince ordering a bear claw?
I don't know. From the thumb.
The product of my statement.
My humongous grapefruits. Anyways, okay.
But no, it's really cool. And then they had a stage and an Austin 316 shirt because there was like millions of us with Austin 316 shirts in the world at that time, and it was like the thing. And it was basically like the parking lot was like a sea of Austin 316 shirts. I just remember hearing they were like introducing different wrestlers out onto the stage that was outside, and all of a sudden we heard Doc Hendricks, aka Michael Hayes, say, "Ladies and gentlemen, Sonny," and me and my friend just turned around and just bolted back to the stage area. It was like friggin' hilarious. Like we just wanted to see Sunny, and we did. And she was hot. You know, she's pretty hot in person.
Yeah, she's
Uh,
definitely not bad to look at.
no, no, definitely not at the time. Um, but yeah, it was definitely a fun experience. The entire show, I had a good time.
Alcohol required. So,
Well, I was
um, okay, so yeah, like I do remember them talking about making they used to do that a lot. I remember like even the previous years where they would change they would turn the parking lot into like a beach party. Um,
yeah,
and I remember one of them one of the moments that happened. It was during like a WWF free for all where remember TL Hopper.
yes. Why do I remember Geo Hopper? I don't know, but I
The
do.
Yeah, because that was the time in '95 where every wrestler had to have a second job, you know,
Right.
and
Yeah,
you
yeah,
had
exactly. Duke the
yeah,
Dumpster. Yeah.
and one of them was TL Hopper, who was like a I guess a plumber. And I remember where he would find he's in this this little miniature pool, one of those blow up pools, where he he found like a quote unquote turd in there,
Yes.
and he's like, oh, that looks kind of tasty, and he says, and he
What?
and I remember him, taking a bite out of it, and it looked like um I don't know, I guess like a Lions bar, because it was like it had like a peanutty outer shell. I don't know. I'm talking way too much about this for something that shouldn't really be talked about. But for some
What
reason, it just.
bar?
But for some reason, it's just like
What bar was that turd?
well, I guess it was a Lions bar, but that's I don't know. For some
Yeah.
reason, that sticks up in my that sticks in my head more than the entire SummerSlam '95 show. So
Oh, wow.
yeah. Okay. So SummerSlam '97, um, and we had the first match. Well, first off, we had the U.S. national anthem play, and I guess this was because it was during the time where it was like U.S. versus Canada, you know,
Yeah.
and I thought that there was something that happened. I don't recall because I do remember there were a couple of I remember there was a few tragedies that happened in that year, but I don't because the timeline doesn't really coincide, so I'm not really sure. Okay, so let's get right to the card. The first match was a steel cage match, which is weird because usually, especially at this time, cage matches would be held off for the main event or
Yeah.
somewhere maybe like before the main event because it is it is the biggest match that you can book. That was like
Right.
that's like the feud ender, but
Yeah.
of course, Mankind and Triple H continued their feud for years and years and years after that. Um,
Oh, yeah. Even going into the Cactus Jack return and everything like that, and the Madison Square Garden match, and then their Hell in a Cell match, and yeah, it goes on and on.
Heck, even earlier this year where he was GM, and and Triple H, he fired him. So
Oh, shit.
yeah, so 20 years, fuck. Um,
Yeah, that was the second time he got fired by Triple H, actually.
he actually got fired the first time by Vince when he was the
Okay.
commissioner.
Okay.
But anyways, that's
Okay.
neither here nor there. Okay, so the match itself. Okay, what you think about it?
Well, when I was there, I actually really enjoyed it,
Hmm.
and I was like, "Wow, this is definitely up there with cage matches and everything like that. And then when prepping for this review, I watched it again and I was like, this match is really not as good as I remember it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, China botches the interference spot. Um, where she was supposed to hit Foley in the nuts and she winds up like just punching him in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Foley talks about that in his first book. I'm not sure. I have it around here somewhere, but I'm not going to go look for it now. So the whole match just kind of revolved around China's interference. And my thinking was, how many times is the ref just going to let China, like, I understand it's a cage match, but like, how many times is the ref just going to let China interfere? Because,
Dude, a cage match is usually made because not to have outside interference. So having
yeah,
a lot of interferences in a cage match, and she did interfere multiple times in this match,
yeah, it was
really,
at least three.
yeah, like really killed off the stipulation. It was like, okay, what's the
Yeah,
point of having a cage?
yeah, exactly. Um, but eventually Foley gets Hunter down, and it was a lot of whips into the corner, a lot of whips into the cage. They could have used the cage a bit more. I felt there wasn't really like a lot of like, oh my god, like, and like if that was booked in '98, it would have been a completely different match.
Definitely.
Um,
Um,
they didn't like. Mhm.
And the other thing is that you got to remember also that the cage was much, much different than what we have today.
Oh yeah,
Because now it's like we've got the mesh. Back then
yeah,
it used to be like those blue bars, and those blue bars were as brutal as they looked. I bet they weren't fun to be bumped on, um, because those bumps really looked like not only that they hurt, but it looked like it took away a few years off their careers. Um,
wasn't there one spot where Foley took a hip toss into the cage?
he did, yeah. That was one of
Yeah,
his signature spots where he would get thrown, and he used to do that on like steel steps all the time.
yeah, oh
And
yeah.
for some reason, he just like he always loves to do that spot. I guess looking back, it's not that it wouldn't hurt as much as being thrown head first into the bars because him being a bigger guy, he has the fat is enough padding for his body, but his face is just complete bone on steel contact. It's
Yeah,
just yeah. So that right there is
but
just crazy.
oh yeah, and even when he took the hip toss into the stairs, of course, like he was landing with his ass, but
Hmm.
it still looked brutal, sounded brutal. But yeah, so
Absolutely.
basically the match ends with Foley getting to the top of the cage, and then oh, he could win, but guess what? He's going to risk his body, and he's going to do something stupid because it's Foley. Um,
Well, actually, there was a story behind that because you remember leading up to this, there were the sit-down interviews with Mick Foley and Jim
right.
Ross,
He talked
and
about Snuka.
yeah, he talked about Snuka, and that there was like also that footage that of him when he was younger. That was that
Oh yeah, the roof.
yeah, that even Vince like fell in love with it. Where Mick Foley would jump off the roof and do like the snooker thing. So this was an
Oh yeah,
homage. At the
yeah,
same
to
time
Snuka.
as yeah, as the
Well,
same time as making Foley more of a star. Being like
which is
okay, I'm at that level now.
which is funny because like now no one would pay homage to Snuka at all. Like
Right.
Snuka. It's a different time. We know a little bit more about Snuka now than we did then.
Of course, yeah.
Um,
Hindsight being 2020, of course.
allegedly,
Yeah.
just
Hey,
to
I
be
was I
safe.
was I was at one point a big fan of Chris Benoit. So there you go.
Right? Yeah, exactly. But yes, and it was cool that the fans, and I don't know if they're actually chanting Superfly, but Jim Ross said they're chanting Superfly, Superfly, and I'm like, I don't actually know if they were because I don't remember hearing that, and that would be really smart if they were. But of course, the fans were programmed to chant that because, like you said, like the builder and everything like that. But I actually don't remember them chanting Superfly, but I remember JR saying that they're chanting Superfly.
Mm-hmm. I think yeah, they were. I remember the commentators. I remember like Vince was like, you know, oh my God, he's about to change Superfly. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, he always
But then,
sounded
you
like
know,
he was falling off a roof.
oh,
I'm about to hit the canvas. Oh my God!
oh, something else really hilarious about this match. He rips his shirt off and he looks down, and he was supposed to have a heart. He drew a heart on his chest. He was supposed to have a heart on. And
Nice, nice. I like
and yeah,
that.
thank you. And he sweated it away during the match. I don't even know if that's a verb, and or a sentence. I don't even know if that's English language. But
He
the
swooped it away.
he sweated it away during the
Right.
match, and he looked down and he was just kind of like, "Oh, oh well, I guess I'll do the spot anyway." The ending was
And
cool though.
you know, he
The
had like
ending,
layers on it, like so. Of course, you know, while he's sweating, you know, and you know, it would rub off, you know, especially with the
yeah,
outfit that he had
yeah,
on.
sure. But the ending was kind of cool, which was, you know, China trying to pull Hunter through the door at the same time Foley is going over the top, and you can see China was like stalling, you know, to make sure that she didn't pull him through the door before Foley got to the floor.
Right. Well, before that, if you remember, before Foley jumped off the top, China got into the ring after she hit the ref. Got into the ring and she went to Triple H, and Triple H is like, "No, not now. Which is, he's still got to do his spot. Then you come in."
Yeah, so China fucked up this match twice.
Yeah. Well,
Twice.
yeah, I think like twice or three times. I can't remember,
Yeah.
but I
And
do
then
remember,
and then
and I was laughing my ass off when I was watching that. It's like, oh, not now, get back there. And I remember like China. I think she had a smile on her face as she left, and then you know
that's
Foley did, yeah, Foley did the elbow drop, and then he went up top, and then China went back in, and then she helped Triple H out.
oh man, fucking Joni. God rest her
Damn it,
soul.
D-Lo.
But yeah, I mean, how many times was China going to interfere in this match? Like, she interfered once with the ass punch, once when she slammed the cage on Foley's head. I think she interfered once with the steel cage. There was one point where she was just like standing on the oh yeah, that was another thing. She was standing so obviously like on the cage, so they could do the slingshot spot, you know, and knock her off the cage. And like she's just standing there on the cage, and I'm like, China, press B, like jump down, you know, like you're on the cage,
Right.
and
Exactly.
yeah, you know, like jump down, like why is she just standing there on the cage? And then they did the slingshot spot, and I was like, oh, okay, that's why. But it was really, so fucking carny. China, I hate to say it, but China kind of ruined this match for me.
I thought that she kind of did, but at the same time, I thought the some of the spots really helped because it really made Foley such an underdog. Especially when like she's holding his hair, she's doing like you know she's grabbing him by the neck through the bars. When she slammed the door on his head, I remember like that was like ugh, that was like look watching that and yeah, it just
That did sound really brutal, yeah. And then of course, you know, Foley gets to the outside, and he wins the match, and the Dude Love music starts to play, and
yeah.
look at the foot, look at the foot. No,
he's gonna dance. He's gonna dance.
He's gonna puke.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I love when I used to love that, dude, when there are the theme songs during the entrance would be different than the when they would win the match. Like
Yeah.
I remember like
Mankind.
Mankind's theme was like his regular theme, and then when he wins, there's like that piano theme.
Right, right.
Yeah, so I love that, and the dude love I love that character, you know.
Yeah, me too. Foley does
Yeah,
not.
yeah, I've heard that, and I think that was like a Vince McMahon idea because he actually
Mhm.
loved that character. That's the reason why Foley became Dude Love after that. Um, and I love that, and Foley had that look on his face, and he was dancing around. I think
Yeah.
looking back, Foley might not have liked that character, but believe me, at that time he was having a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Uh,
So overall, I thought the match was actually I thought it was a really good opener.
okay. Yeah, for an opener it was good. It got the crowd going. Was got the crowd hot. That was good. Did its
Okay.
job.
After that, we got there was a blimp for the Stridex.
Straight X, yeah.
Yeah,
Which
and
was
you,
never on my fucking side, by the way. Like it was always on the other side.
yeah. Was there did the blimp ever obstruct anybody's view, their view of the show?
We can't see you. No, I don't think so. I don't
Right.
think that it did.
Hmm.
I don't
Well,
remember.
Well, because it's like really up high, and then I don't know, maybe some people can't watch like the Timetrons because usually who the hell can watch the ring from all the way over there?
Exactly.
Yeah, so
Um,
they had the Minitrons that was right in the middle.
yeah. Yeah, that's right. The Minitrons, yeah, were hanging from the center.
Mhm.
And then the Titantrons, uh I don't you know what? I don't really remember looking at the Titantron um now where it's like, oh my god, like gigantic Titantron.
Hmm.
Um but we were far up there, by the way. Like we were like 10 rows from the like we kept walking up and up and up. I remember saying to my friend's father, like, where are we going? And he was like, nope, keep walking up, keep walking up.
Hmm.
And we finally it was literally like 10 rows from the very, 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 like the highest you could go up.
Hmm. Yeah, like
Yeah.
way up in the nosebleeds.
Oh, yeah, we were way up there. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, like the Stridex thing, it's so weird because it was apparently like this little drug that would help out with your zits, and of
Well, it
course,
wasn't, it wasn't it wasn't a drug.
what was it?
It was,
Oh, it was one of those wipes, those little wipes.
it was a wipe. Yes.
Yeah.
It's not
Right.
a
Right.
drug.
Right. Right. And I
Yeah.
remember. I remember one of the commercials had Marky Mark on it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, it's weird that that you would have like one of those you know, uh, zit fighters, especially when at the time everybody was on gas.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's true.
So, I guess we found a cure for Jinder Mahal's acne.
I
So
was do it.
okay. So,
Yeah.
after that, Governor Christine Whiteman came out, and Whitman, right? Sorry. Excuse me. Um,
Well,
so
he was governor of my state,
right. So
the
apparently,
great
like,
state of
like
New Jersey.
yeah, because like before we started the hangout, I was like trying to figure out like why was she there? Was she there for taxes or something like that? But then I remembered because
Well,
what was going on at the time was that I think this was the first WWF show in that area.
yes, yes. It was a long time
Hmm.
uh, that WWF was not in the state of New Jersey. I don't know why, and they
Right.
kept calling it the Shadow of New York. Oh, we're in the New York area. It's like, no, you're in fucking New Jersey.
Hmm.
It's its own state. We have Bruce Springsteen. Anyway, um, so the yeah, it was like a long time that WWF was not in New Jersey, and Christine Todd Whitman was responsible for bringing it back to New Jersey.
Hmm.
So I guess having her there was just kind of like a thank you, like for bringing it back. And she said something like, "We're gonna put a headlock on taxes." It was like, how do you even do that?
Right, and
What does
not
that
just that.
mean?
It was like I remember that was like the WWF go to thing. Like we're gonna put a headlock on hunger. It's like what? It's
Yeah,
like,
we're
yeah,
gonna put a camel. We're gonna put a camel clutch on cancer.
yeah. Well, dude, we're gonna suplex AIDS. It's like what? It's like
I want a fucking T-shirt that says that.
yeah.
I want that on a fucking T-shirt now.
Okay, or so
Right now.
so she comes out. She's they give her the nickname the Tax Crusher. Gorilla Monsoon is out there with the headbangers. And it's like
Yes.
of all people
Go
to
on.
represent your company, you get the headbangers out there.
Like, they're not booked. Send them out.
Exactly. Yeah. Like that's what they usually did. Like I remember the headbangers were at the King of the Ring and they were out there to sell those blow up chairs, you know? Yeah. So, then
Yeah.
after then she was given a replica belt. I'm not sure if that was a replica belt. Could have been Undertaker's belt and it's like, where the fuck is my belt?
Oh, Miss Whitman, we're gonna have to take this back from you. Taker's kind of mad. He wants his belt back.
We're trying to hold him back with cucumbers, but that's not working at all.
Why is it that character from The Simpsons? Oh, Mr. Simpson. Splicey, splicey.
Uh,
Oh,
and I can imagine Undertaker is like the dog with the shifty eyes.
yeah. Oh, man.
Okay. So after that, we
But that
had
whole segment.
yeah there was remember Tiger Ali Singh?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah. Apparently, Tiger Ali Singh is the son of former wrestler Tiger Jeet Singh. Um,
Yep.
okay. Do you have a backstory for those two?
Not at all. Oh, I
Okay.
do have one. Wasn't Tiger Ali Singh that was responsible for bringing Kurt Angle into the ring?
Yes, that was
Yes.
in '99. Yeah. Good. Well,
And that's all I got.
well. Apparently, Tiger Ali Singh was an accomplished amateur wrestler.
Hmm.
So and this was a time where Vince McMahon is like, by God, he's got a great body, and he's not on the gas. Sign him in, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Really.
So it's like, and I remember when I first saw him, I was like, oh, this guy could amount to something. But then I realized the dude has no character. Seriously, like he has nothing
I'll give
except
you
for
$5 if you wipe your nose on the American flag. $5. Okay, $10.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So he was like a lower version of the $1 Million Man at the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. That's good. That's a good comparison.
Yeah, the $5 man, I guess. So
The $5 man.
yeah, who's who's gonna put a camel clutch on cancer? But I do remember.
Like eight.
So I did think like the dude has some potential, but then I realized that he has no character. So but he was supposed to be like the pride of India, like the guy that that would carry that name and be like a hero to Indians and stuff like that. I guess kind of what they're trying to do with Jinder Mahal right now. But I will say that Jinder Mahal is definitely a better overall character slash star than Tiger Ali Singh. So
By far, yeah.
yeah,
Jinder
um,
has well, Jinder has Mike skills, believe it or not. I think so.
yeah, he's good. Yeah, I think he's okay on
Yeah,
the mic. He's
he's
decent.
not great. You know?
He's
Yeah,
definitely better than Tiger Ali Singh, that's for sure. So
I'm not saying he's Jericho.
yeah, well, no. I don't think anybody in the company right now is close to that, actually. So,
Right, except maybe Kevin Owens,
uh, maybe.
because
Okay,
he learned from Jericho.
sure, okay, but maybe that's up for debate. But
Okay. Anyway,
okay. So the second match, we finally get to the second match after
yeah,
all of that garbage.
yeah.
We get to Brian Pillman versus Goldust, and the
Mhm.
stipulation in this match is that if Brian Pillman lost, he has to wear a dress.
Right.
So okay, what do you think of this match?
I enjoyed this one.
Mhm.
This match, you could tell that Pillman and Goldust had a lot of really good chemistry. They worked very well together, I thought, in the ring. And this, I kind of forgot just how good Pillman was. Like, Pillman was just so good. Um, and Goldie was kind of going along a little bit with what Pillman wanted to do, and it was very back and forth. But I guess my only real criticism of this match is there was one chin lock in the middle of the match that was just so long, and
Mhm.
I mean, Pillman had this chin lock on for like 5 minutes, and Vince would go, just look at his eyes. He's a what? He's crazy, man. Look at that. And really putting Pillman over. But I I thought it was a good match. I thought it was better than I originally thought it was when I first watched it. The I guess the only other criticism I have is that when what's it called? Pillman went for the roll up, and Goldust was under him. Um, he the spot was Marlena was supposed to hit him with like her purse,
Right when
and
Gold actually it was when Goldust went for the sunset flip, and
yeah,
it was
yeah,
horrible.
he
The
went for
worst
the
sunset flip that I ever seen.
he goes for the sunset flip, and Pillman scoots over to the rope so Marlena can hit him like "Deet, deet, 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 deet," and like just like scoots over to the ropes to get in range because he was too far
Hmm.
for Marlena to hit him. So Goldust does the sunset flip, and Pillman "Deet, deet, 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 deet," over to the ropes, and Marlena hits him, and Goldust rolls him up 1, 2, 3. Decent match, but besides the gimmick, kind of forgettable.
Hmm.
Then the end of the match, they throw the mannequin into the ring, and Pillman tears up the dress. I thought it would have been better actually if instead of having to wear the dress the next night on Raw, he had to put it on right then and there, because I
Right.
think people were chanting like put it on," and they were like, no, it's tomorrow night on Raw. He has to wear it."
Hmm. Well, I think that the match itself wasn't really that great. And and it's understandable because Brian Pillman just came out of a few months of worth of like an injury because I
Mhm.
remember it was so weird because he broke his leg, but then they had to re-break his leg for it to heal properly.
Ooh,
You know, so that right there,
ooh,
that like you can imagine like how much of an excruciating experience that is. Um,
yeah, oh
and
yeah,
this was like his third match back because he had the match at Canadian Stampede, And I
Mhm.
remember he had a match on Raw. I think it was against I can't remember if it was against Austin. I do think it was against
Huh?
Austin, yeah, because he was supposed to face Austin at King of the Ring, and Sean was
Mhm.
supposed to face Brett, and then Brett was injured, so Sean had to face Austin, and Austin faced Pillman the next night. So the match itself was decent, but I do think it didn't deliver at where as a match goes, and I do agree the chin lock spot was way too long. But I guess they were trying to put over the fact that Pillman is crazy. Um,
Right. Yeah. That was a whole. It would seem like the entire chin lock, the entire rest hold was just based around like get shots of Pillman's eyes.
mhm. Crazy eyes,
And
Pillman.
but Pillman, yeah, and Pillman did do some like great facials during that though. Like he did do some like great facial expressions where
Mhm.
you could tell like wow he's even when he's doing a chin lock he's really good.
Right, yeah.
Like
The,
because
the, the
making
guy's
the faces and everything.
he's not only a good wrestler, he's a great performer. And not just that, but
Yeah.
I do think that he has a complete package when it comes to what a wrestler should be as a main eventer, And I do think that if tragedy didn't strike, I do think that he would have been like one of WWF's top guys, especially in the Attitude Era.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, I completely agree. Yep.
So, and I do agree with you as well that Pillman should have we should have seen Pillman in the dress on the show,
Yeah.
especially like after getting hit with the brick, which was in like Marlena's purse. He should have been knocked out, and you could have had Goldust like put him in that dress, and then
Right. Exactly.
slap him, and then he wakes up and he's like, oh my god, I'm in the dress, and he goes
Yeah.
insane, you know. Kind
Right.
of like what
Yeah.
Bobby Heenan
Exactly.
used to do when he used to lose the Weasel Suit matches.
The weasel suit matches, and he would wake up and he would flail about in the ring, with the weasel suit on, like kind of tripping over himself and being a goof.
Right, exactly. And I think that would have been such a great, that would have been such a great moment for SummerSlam, rather than him just breaking the mannequin.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, he destroyed that. That mannequin job to Pillman.
Definitely, yeah.
It, it
Okay.
it was worse. It was worse than Bret Hart breaking the trophy at WrestleMania 4.
Sure, yeah. I would say like it was even worse than when Jerry Lawler destroyed Bret Hart's crown at King of the Ring '93.
Oh yeah, 93. Yeah, that was a great King of the Ring. But anyway, back to SummerSlam.
Yeah. Okay. So after that, we got the Legion of Doom against the Godwins, and the
Mhm.
storyline heading into this match was that the Road Warriors, well, Legion of Doom, at this time, they accidentally hurt. Was it Henry when they did the Doomsday device, and Henry
Right.
fell on his head, I think. Um, and he fell right on his head, so he had to miss like I think it was like 6 weeks of action because he had like a minor concussion and he had a stinger. Um, so that's the whole thing that the Godwins are trying to beat up the Legion of Doom, which is a fine storyline for two like badass teams
Sure.
going up to the show. So what did you think of this match?
I thoroughly enjoyed this match. I thought that this was going to be one match I was just going to fast forward through. But I was like, you know what? I'll stick with it. I want to do a good job and I want to watch the whole pay per view. So I watched this match, even though it's probably going to stink. And it was good. I really liked it. Um, LOD, of course, Hawk selling. Um, I was kind of surprised actually that he was selling a lot of Henry's stuff.
Mhm.
Hawk was actually selling like he wasn't doing his, get knocked down and get right back up. Um, thing. Like I was watching him, kind of like, wow, Hawk is actually like selling Henry's punches, and he was like a lot of really good like in and out action. I mean, of the ring. Um,
In and out of action. Okay.
that was later. That was the Sunny segment. Did we
Right.
wait? Did we skip that? By the way, did we skip the whole Todd Pettengill thing with
Oh
winning
no,
the
it
million
comes, it
dollars?
comes, it comes later on.
Okay, all right. I just want to make sure we didn't skip that because that was a highlight of the whole night. Um, so yeah, really good match. Kind of disappointed that we didn't get the Doomsday device
Mhm.
that gets set up, and then I think Phineas comes in and Phineas breaks it up, or Phineas is set up and Henry breaks it up, and then
Phineas is
we
the
got
one
a
that comes in. Yeah.
yeah, we got a spike pile driver, um, which was kind of brutal. Wasn't the worst pile driver of the whole night.
Yeah, that's safe for later on for sure.
Yeah, spoiler. And yeah, I enjoyed this match more than I definitely thought I would.
Hmm. Yeah, I totally agree. Like when I was watching it, I was like, this is actually really good. It was like, it's exactly what you want to see in a Legion of Doom match. Like them beating the crap out of another team, and vice versa. And it was weird seeing Hawk selling, and I always thought that Animal was the better wrestler of the two, but Hawk was the better overall character because he's the guy that you always want to hear, whenever he's doing a promo and stuff like that. Well, you know,
Well, tell him, Hawk.
yeah.
Well,
You're like little boogers, that we're trying to get out of our noses. It's like,
little Vince in there. It seems like
yeah,
no matter who you try to do it, it always ends up being Vince.
yeah, I can't help it. Yeah, I did think that the match was really good, and really, when I was looking back at this and seeing like the like how many tag teams that they had at the time, I'm like, God damn it! Like that's when tag team wrestling really meant a shit, you know. So after that, we had the $1 million Mania.
Oh boy. All right. Can we just talk about this segment for a moment, please?
Sure.
This segment went on for fucking ever.
Right.
This segment just seemed, if this was modern day WWE, they would have done like a third of it and then a match, and then another third of it and then done a match, like two matches, and then finish it up on like a third segment.
Hmm.
But this was literally, I don't actually know how long it went on, but it had to have been at least 10 minutes. All right. So they bring these two guys up on stage who want a chance to win $1 million. And one of them is a kid, and the other one looks like Stone Cold. And Sonny and Sable are up there. And Sonny's like rubbing like the back of the Stone Cold dude.
Yeah,
And
Patrick Stevens.
thank you very much, Patrick. Hello, Patrick Stevenson. Um, and he was like, "Oh, you must be a big Stone Cold fan." Yeah, but I've had this haircut longer than tonight's. Um,
That's like, what are you about to sue Stone Cold for copyright? It's like,
right.
yeah.
You know, so they call a couple of other random people, I guess, and I don't know what was they they brought them up there like, oh, okay, you have a chance to win $1 million, but first we're going to call a couple of random people and who are home, and we're going to see if they win first, and
Hmm.
if they win first, well then you get fuck all because um we flew you out here for nothing because they get priority. What was that?
It
So
really felt like they were gonna do like, okay, let's do this segment, but we'll just do it on the fly. We have
yeah,
no real structure for this.
but damn did Pettingill sell it though.
Hmm.
Like his selling during that segment was just unbelievable.
Right.
So Sunny's holding the piece of paper like up to her chest because it's Sunny, she's a whore.
Mhm.
And hi Tammy. And Tammy's not listening to this. Um but if she is, Tammy, you're a whore. And
Uh, well, I guess I'm not going to be interviewing Tammy anytime soon.
no, probably not. Well, you could interview Tammy anytime you want. The views and opinions of myself do not reflect the views and opinions of Variety Views. So there, saved it.
Thank you for that.
So they call this random dude, and he's like, "Hey, are you watching SummerSlam right now?" No, I'm not watching. Well, why? And the crowd booed. They actually booed that. They booed that he wasn't watching. And then I remember this kid in front of it was like, "I'm watching." And I'm like, "You're here." So then what's it called? So he's like, "Yeah, my cable provider doesn't carry it." Well, you
Mhm.
tell your cable provider to carry it. So he picks a number and they take out the key, to that number on this like big, how would you describe it? This big board of like envelopes that's shaped in like a WWF logo.
Yeah, most of them had
And
like keys hidden in them.
yeah, right. And they took out the key and his key didn't work. So they call this other girl and she picks out a number and her key doesn't work.
Mhm.
And this is going on and on. And they're dialing and like the first person that they called, the phone was disconnected and it was brutal. It was worse. I'm actually going to say you might disagree with this, but it was worse than Todd Pettengill giving away a house.
Yeah, I agree. The,
Wow. Yeah,
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 I do agree. That was actually really good. I thought.
yeah. And this was just went on and on. So then the kid tries his key, and it didn't work. And then the guy tried his key, and it didn't work. And it was just like waste of time for all involved.
Hmm. Yeah, like I did think that it was all right. It wasn't like one of those things that I do think like most people watching the show would either go for like a piss break or something or grab a hot dog, because it's like yeah, if you missed it, it's not nothing special. But at the same time, it's like looking at Sonny and Sable like mugging in front of the camera and being all fun, and Top Pettingill overselling the shit out of this weird $1 million thing. It was fun to watch. Like I was like, yeah, that was it was like one of those time capsules, you know?
It, wait, hang on. Okay, there we go. To me, it was like a time capsule
Mhm.
that you bury and never dig up again because when you open it, there's nothing but a dog shit inside.
I don't know. I thought I thought it was fine. I don't think it's one of those things that I'll ever watch ever again. I'll probably if I'm ever gonna watch this show, I'm probably gonna skip over it. But just for the sake of this review, I had to watch it. I was like, okay, I gotta
Yeah.
check it out. Yeah. But hey, Sunny was hot, Sable was hot, Top Pettingill was fun. So cool. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
and I love when Sonny had like the sheet of paper up, and he's like, could you put a little lower, so that you can see her tits."
Stop, stop, stop jiggling it. I mean the paper.
Yeah, Top Pettingill was a lot of fun. I always loved
Yeah,
watching him.
he did make that segment. Um,
Tolerable at
uh,
least.
yeah, at least.
Yeah. So Patrick Stevenson and Ryan Chadwick are the finalists, and they're like, "Oh, so nobody won. So I guess we probably have a chance." And by God, who won the pony? No, they didn't. They did not. They didn't win the $1 million. And afterwards, they're like, "Oh, it was none of that. I think it was like number three."
It was number 3 because it was August 3rd.
Yeah, of
Ah,
course. I
nobody
should have
thought of
known.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, should have known. Like if only they got the fans in attendance to be a part of this. Like,
Oh
imagine yeah, like imagine every, after each match there's like this little segment. It's like, who has ticket number 23 or ticket number
right.
5, but you knew, like, they're not going to give away $1 million. It was just like it was just a way to get ratings.
Oh yeah, oh definitely. Two other things I remember about this segment that was actually kind of funny was Jerry Lawler making fun of the dude's ears. Like
Yeah,
he took like
the dude has bigger ears than, like, that would put Neville's ears to shame.
oh man, the man that gravity forgot.
So, yeah.
Um he Lawler took like 3 different shots at the guy
Mhm.
for having big ears. And the other thing was you know, what an idiot. He picked number 13. What an idiot, you know.
Mhm.
So Lawler made it somewhat fun too.
Mhm. Yeah, so, like, it wasn't like a horrible, horrible segment, but I do think it
No.
was, it was at least tolerable, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
after that, we got Bulldog versus Ken Shamrock for the European title, and if Bulldog lost, he would eat a can of dog food, which
Yep.
is weird because it's like, why would you put a stipulation on yourself when you already have the European title to defend? You know?
Right. Yeah, that didn't make I didn't think of it, but that didn't make sense.
Yeah, like if it's the other guy that says that, okay, if I don't win your European title, I'll eat a can of dog food. That makes sense. But if it's like the
Right.
other guy has nothing to lose and you're the only one that has everything to lose, it's like, what's the point of the match?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You know?
I didn't
And
think of that.
yeah, and Ken Shamrock just, he just debuted. Bulldog won the European title like a couple of months prior, and they have this match. So, like, it's so weird because they really booked themselves into a corner because they don't know who to put over. It's like, okay, he just won the European title, and this guy just debuted, and he's like the ultimate fighter, and he just crossed over from UFC. It's like, what should we do? Like, well, you shouldn't have booked this match. That's what he should have done, you know. But yeah. So, what you
Yeah.
think of this match?
This this was actually the one moment that I remember being there. Like this is the one moment that sticks out more than anything
Mhm.
from that night. Not the match itself, but the aftermath of the match. Um, which was to me like the best part of the match. But um, the match itself was pretty boring. It was very punchy kicky. It wasn't even really punchy kicky. It was just kind of like punchy punchy.
Mhm.
Um, I just remember, you know. Okay, so let me just give you a brief summary of the match. Okay, um, they get in the ring. Shamrock runs in. Punch, 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 punch. Suplex. Irish whip into the corner. Punches. Kick. Suplex. More punches. Chinlock. Shamrock. Uh, you know, breaks the chinlock.
Mhm.
Punches. It was a lot of punches. It was a lot of that. And then do you want me to go right to the finish or do you want me to milk it a bit?
The thing is, though, like, the match, I thought, was because Ken Shamrock just came over from UFC, and people, when they see UFC, they're like, okay, it's all punches and kicks and chin locks and, wear down moves. Um,
Yeah.
so it kind of made sense, but at the same time, it wasn't. I don't think it was like a really good match because God bless Bull. God rest his soul, Bulldog. Is that he's not a good ring general. He's not a good. He's really not a good wrestler that really leads a good match. Like he's always great when he's wrestling a guy like Brett or Sean, like a guy that's a good ring general. But when he's wrestling another guy that needs to be led, like Shamrock, you don't get the best out of it. So
no, not at all. This is the guy who said, "I'm fucked." Right.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like I'm getting fucked in the ass right now. But like this match, I thought was probably the weakest on the card.
Yeah.
Structure wise, and well, being booked also. The way that was booked, it was like, it was probably the weakest of all the matches on the card. And the DQ finish was like, like when there's a stipulation in a match, I always prefer them to actually act out on it, especially when it's on a pay-per-view.
Yeah. And what was the point of having, if he loses, he has to eat dog food, but he's going to eat dog food during the match.
Yeah, like he spread the dog food all over Ken Shamrock's face. It's like, why?
He snapped, I get that. I get the whole okay, he snapped.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all right, that was Ken Shamrock's thing. Was he's gonna snap? He's gonna snap.
Right.
He's gonna puke. But so many Vince references tonight.
I do think that they should have switched dance partners in this pay-per-view. Like Shamrock should have faced Pillman and Goldust should have faced Bulldog for the European title.
I completely agree.
Because Goldust is a ring general. He's a good wrestler. He's a guy that can lead you to a great match. And Pillman is the same way. So when you have Pillman and Shamrock and Bulldog and Goldust, then you have two really good matches rather than two forgettable matches.
Oh yeah, and I remember during this match, I made a sign for this match.
What was it?
Remember, it was my first attempt ever at making a sign.
Probably had a lot of glitter in it.
Actually, no. It just said, "Hey Bulldog," 2 words, chow down.
Chow down. Okay. Okay.
I was 16. It was my first attempt at a sign.
Yeah, that's I guess that's a good insult in the 90s when you're 16. So I guess that gets a pass. So
I like though how I wrote "Hey Bulldog," like I'm addressing you. Like I feel like I have to address you in a sign.
Yeah. It's like Bulldog's in the ring, doing a chin lock, and Shamrock is like, What the fuck did he say? What the fuck does he have? Does he have on that sign? What does it say? Bulldog, chow down. What the hell? Hey kid, I'm gonna haunt you in the afterlife.
Oh man, oh that's terrible. Oh man, that's really bad. But the match was very forgettable. All right, so let's go to the finish of this one, if you don't mind.
Sure.
He said, he rubs the dog food in Shamrock's face, and Shamrock snaps, as per Shamrock's gimmick. Mm-hmm. And then he starts basically trying to shove the dog food down. Referees. Oh no, I'm sorry. He takes the can of dog food. He hits him in the head with it. It bounces off Shamrock's head. Mm-hmm. The referee disqualifies them, despite the fact that it happened outside the ring.
Yeah, and I remember that was a rule back then, right? If something happens outside of the ring, then that's okay.
Yeah, it was legal.
Right?
Why?
Like you could bring a shotgun. You could bring a shotgun to a match. And shoot the guy out of the ring, and it's like, and the ref continues counting. It's like,
yeah. Well, kayfabe.
Right. Winner by way of slaughter. It's like
Jason Voorhees.
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, he so the referee disqualifies him, even though it happened outside the fucking ring.
Mhm.
And then they get back in, and he puts a chokehold, I guess you can say, on Bulldog, and Bulldog passes out.
Mhm.
So other referees get involved, and Patterson and Briscoe, pre-Stooges, get involved,
Right.
and everyone gets a suplex, and Shamrock does his rah,
Mhm. Get
and
out of my way!
gigantic, gigantic pop.
Right.
Like they just went nuts. Like they lost their shit. I have to say, besides Stone Cold's entrance, that was pop of the night.
I gotta ask this though. Like, how come Shamrock never really got to be like a top star?
I think just because he was very limited in terms of his in ring ability and mic work. Um, Plus, they were just like a lot of better guys at the time, like Stone Cold and Rock and Mankind and Taker and
Well,
Edge,
sure,
and
but
you
at
know,
the same time, it's like even like the top guys, the like the most famous wrestlers of all time. Like you look at Hogan and you look at Rock. All those guys, like they were limited in the ring as well. And I
yeah, but they
thought,
had charisma.
yeah, they did have charisma, and Shamrock had charisma as well, and not just that, but he brought a sense of realism to the ring. Like what Brock Lesnar is today. So
I don't think. I guess if it was now, you know, he would definitely have a much better shot because you can give him someone like Heyman. You know what I mean?
Sure. Well, you
Um,
could have given
but
him
still,
Cornette back then.
yeah, sure. Um,
Hmm.
Except I think Cornette was a heel at the time. I don't
Uh,
remember,
uh,
but
and I do think that Shamrock could have been like one of those monster tweeners that could go like that could beat either side, and
yeah,
Cornette would just be singing his praises. But at the same time, I did like the fact that Shamrock, like, he doesn't have the greatest mic skills in the world, but he was real. Like when he
yeah.
talks, it's like it feels real. It's like Bret Hart. It's like,
He
okay,
was
this, yeah.
he was so limited in terms of ability, though.
He was. I thought he was
No.
passable, and the kind of guy that it's like, okay, this guy is gonna rip your head off, you know. And
Yeah,
and the
I
fans were
guess
so behind him, In '97 and '98, it's like, where did they drop the ball with this guy?
I guess to answer your question, a good way to describe what I think, why Shamrock didn't really go far in WWF at the time
Mhm.
was just his lack of ability in everything.
Hmm. I don't know because I don't know about that because I do think that the number two guy in wrestling at that time, if not in like number three, or if like they would fight like either number two or number three, was Goldberg. And how limited was
Yeah.
Goldberg?
Oh, incredibly! Like he wouldn't wrestle for more than 5 minutes, except against Regal.
Right. But I do think, like, Shamrock could have been like WWF's answer to Goldberg. Yeah.
Interesting.
And you know what?
Yeah,
Like
and
some
UFC.
people, and some people said, like, Goldberg. My dream match is Goldberg versus Austin, or DDP versus The Rock, or Undertaker versus Sting. Like my dream match at the time was Shamrock and Goldberg. Like I was like, oh, I really wanted
Wow.
to see that match. Like because I do think that it had that realistic feel to it.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
So
Yeah.
okay, let's get to the next match, which is the greatest boy in the world, the leader of Los Boricuas, Savio Vega. I'm
Are
waiting.
you waiting for it?
Savio Vega, leader of Los Boricuas. And
Okay,
okay.
now let's hear your version. Hang on. Okay, now let's hear your version of the theme.
Okay.
Oh, Mario.
So we had Los Baricuas against the disciples of Apocalypse. Okay, now this is weird. Okay, this is a weird 4-on-4 match because um, the storyline going into this was Savio Vega and Crush were part of the Nation of Domination, and then I
Right.
remember like Farouk came out to the ring and he was like on the mic and he said like Savio Vega, you know what? You're getting fired. And Savio Vega, like it showed like Savio Vega and Crush in the locker room. It's like, what? I'm not fired. What's going on? And then Crush is like, it's like
Like you could even fire the guy to his face.
yeah. And then Crush is like, and Crush is like, talking to Savio is like I think he was laughing at him or something. And then Farouk is like, and Crush, you're fired as well. And Crush was like, what? You can't fire me. There's no way you can fire me, even though that you're the leader. But you can't fire me. Like, I fire myself. It's like you can't fire me, you punk. And then that's when the disciples of Apocalypse started, and Los Baricuas also. And then they came out to the ring the following week, and they surrounded Nation of Domination. And then for some reason, everybody started beating the shit out of everybody. Like it didn't matter who had a beef with who. It's like Crush and Savio didn't have a beef going into this match. It's like, why are they facing off against each other? Shouldn't it be Savio Vega, like Los Baricuas, and versus the Nation of Domination, or Disciples of Apocalypse versus the Nation of Domination? For some reason, these two teams are facing off against each other.
It was complete gang wars. Oh no, wait, I'm sorry. That was a couple of months later.
Yeah. Gang
About
rules.
3 months later.
Right.
Gang rules. I'm sorry. It was You know what's funny? Sorry, I'm jumping ahead to Survivor Series '97. But something funny about Survivor Series '97. I was like,
besides the
I didn't really know
job?
about I didn't really know about the whole Bret Hart Shawn Michaels rivalry backstage at the time. Because I was 16 and I was a mark.
Okay.
And I didn't know that there was like real heat. So I didn't know that there was real heat backstage between Bret and Shawn. So I thought, all right, well, basically the big match that's being promoted is DOA versus Nation of Domination versus Los Boricuas, right? So I thought to myself, there's no reason to order this pay-per-view. Oh boy, was I wrong? Because the next day, everyone was talking about it. Today, and by the way, it's coming up on 20. 20-year anniversary of the Montreal Screwjob.
That's one of the biggest reasons why I decided to do this series, is because so much stuff happened 20 years ago that I really wanted to start reviewing it.
Oh yeah.
So okay, the match itself. What did you think of it?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was going to be one of those matches that is just really boring, but I thought that there were some really cool spots, especially by Jesus. I don't know whatever happened to that dude, but he could work. Crush was just completely out of place, and couldn't even keep up with like his fellow Los Boricua. Los members. But some of those dudes, they were really flip flopping and flying, as Dusty would say, which actually mentioned during the Pillman match. I forgot to mention before, but JR goes, Goldust, he's really flip flopping and flying during this match. I was like, oh, JR, I see what you did there. But anyway, back to this match. So I enjoyed it. Crush, definitely the weakest person in this match, but Jesus was really moving around really well. There was one move where he did like a running leg drop, which was really just very realistic looking.
Mhm.
And yeah, there was something that happened in the beginning of the match that made me laugh though. So Luis Boricua's come down first, and as most people do before a match, they get in the ring, and unless you're Warrior, I guess, but they didn't do the Warrior thing. They actually got in the ring, and then DOA comes down on their motorcycles, and they kind of like they ride around the ring, and then they ride up the ramp, and then they park their motorcycles in like the middle of the ramp, and then run to the ring and jump into the ring and start beating the crap out of Los Boricuas. It's like, why didn't you just park closer? Like,
Well,
like why didn't you just?
I do think that the idea for that is because they didn't want to park it like because usually you don't park it like on the ramp because
Yeah,
they don't because of course straight stage personnel, cameramen, all that those guys, and plus around the if they can't park it like near the ringside area because there were some spots that happened when the Nation of Domination interfered.
that's true. That's true. But like, why would you run halfway down the ramp, get out of breath, and then and jumpstart the match? Like, but yeah,
Usually,
that
whenever somebody runs to the ring, that I don't know for some reason that gets the crowd going. Like, oh my God, this is about to get real. It's like when you would have the Rockers run to the ring, or the Ultimate Warrior, or somebody like during a Royal Rumble match and runs to the ring and starts beating everybody up.
or
It's that
or
illusion, I
Jake the
guess.
Snake or Jake the Snake Roberts at that what's it called, WrestleCade?
You
What
ever
was that
play
event? Where
21?
he, what was the name of that event?
Heroes of
Uh,
Wrestling.
Heroes of Wrestling. Yes,
Yeah,
yes. Heroes of Wrestling one. Yeah,
yeah.
he was so knackered.
That's the
Yeah,
Englishman coming
usually
out of you.
usually if you run to the ring, if what's that?
That's the Englishman coming out of you. He was so knackered.
Yeah, knackered. Usually if you run to the ring, you're either one, a jobber,
Hmm.
uh, two, warrior,
Hmm.
or three, knackered.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
but yes,
the match itself, I thought was it was fun because you had whenever you have like two factions going at it, it's always fun to watch.
mhm.
And at the same time, though, it's like who the hell are the baby faces and who the hell are the heels? You know,
Yeah.
because none of them were like playing up to the crowd. So the crowd was just like sitting on their hands. They were like, okay, who should we cheer for? They came out on bikes. That's fun. Yeah.
and then
And
Nation just comes out of nowhere through the crowd, and
and
um,
plus, like, I'm pretty sure there's like a huge Puerto Rican demographic in New Jersey, right?
oh sure,
Yeah, so most of them are like, so should we cheer our fellow countrymen or should we cheer the biker gang?
right.
Yeah,
Or should
it's
we
pretty
cheer
much like
the?
it's like Sophie's Choice, you know.
Oh man, I hate when people compare everything to Sophie's Choice. Like it's like no, it's not like Sophie's Choice. Sophie's Choice was a dramatic thing about a child should live or die, and it's like oh should I drink 1% milk or 2% milk? It's like Sophie's Choice. No, stop comparing everything to Sophie's fucking Choice.
You're
Anyway,
choosing one of your kids. It's like what the fuck.
Oh God, yes.
Mhm.
Um.
So the
So
Nation
yeah.
of
So then,
Domination came in, and Ahmed
yes.
Johnson, Ahmed Johnson, the ultimate boy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just
dude,
stood
this
there.
guy, he came out looking like a freaking black BDSM performer
And was he
with
chewing gum? I swear
he
he was
was chewing
chewing gum.
he was chewing gum filled with piercings and filled with tassels, like filled with elbow
Oh,
pads up to the knee, and
such a
just like
boy.
he's just got he's got like elbow pads everywhere, and he's got tassels everywhere. He's got the choker on, a bandana,
Yeah.
piercings. State of your attire, mate.
State of your retirement. Yeah, exactly. Oh
So,
man. But
so he came out. He delivered the Pearl River plunge on chains, and
mm,
he threw him back into the ring. And I do think it was it Miguel that no, it was Jose, right?
I believe so. Hmm.
Yeah, so it was Jose that
I don't
that
remember.
got the pinfall, and who was one of the Los Barriquas? He got the pinfall on chains and got the win. And then
Yep.
afterwards, everybody just fought off against each other. So that was
It got a
fun.
pop.
Yeah, that was fun. It's
Yeah.
like whenever there's like gangs that are fighting, people are just gonna get into it. Like when there's like whether it's the Royal Rumble or a Battle Royal, it's an easy pop.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So okay, after that we got Owen Hart against Stone Cold Steve Austin for the Intercontinental title, and if Owen lost, no, the loser. No, wait. If Austin lost, he would
Yeah.
kiss Owen's ass.
Go with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So if he loses, he kisses Owen's ass. This right here is where a stipulation makes sense because one guy has something to lose, the other guy has something to lose. Put them against each other. It makes sense.
Right.
So yeah, what do you think of this match?
To me, this was easily match of the night.
Mhm.
Um, I forgot just like before I was talking about, I forgot how good Pillman was. Owen was just so damn good.
Mhm.
Um, Austin was very good as well. This was kind of like, hey, I forgot just how well Austin could move at this time. Um, and you know, they were both really, really good together. And for a while.
Mhm.
Um, but up into the spot where he broke his neck. Um, but where Owen broke Stone Cold's neck, I should say.
Mhm.
So yeah, this was definitely, I think, Owen at his best. I really can't think of many Owen matches that were better than this, except maybe the two matches he had with Brett. The first one at WrestleMania 10, and the second one at Survivor Series.
Mhm.
Or do I
SummerSlam.
have that backwards?
SummerSlam.
First, right? And then WrestleMania
No,
10.
no, WrestleMania 10, and then
Oh, sorry,
SummerSlam. It was in a cage.
Did I say Survivor Series? I meant SummerSlam.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and probably the
it was
greatest cage match ever.
definitely
Mm-hmm.
um definitely better than Mankind and Triple H for sure.
Here.
Or Hunter Hearst Helmsley, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I really think that Owen was at his best during this match, and when Owen is on, he's just fucking amazing,
Mm-hmm.
and I really enjoyed this match. Unfortunately, the ending, uh, not so great.
Owen really knows how to pace himself, and it's
Yeah,
really one of the reasons why he's one of the greatest wrestlers to ever lace a pair of boots. Um, and yeah, I do agree, dude. Like this match was really really good in a sense of it felt real. And
Yeah.
much of '97 really felt real. You know, you can say like, "Oh my God, that was a bad match because this was sloppy or some," but the sloppiness really added to the realism because when you're in a real fight, you don't do like chain lock wrestling or anything like that. You know,
Exactly.
you're not smooth when you're in a real fight. In a real fights, things look ugly, and this match was exactly that. It was ugly, you know, and or like Jim Ross likes to say, it was bowling shoe ugly. Um,
Bowling Shogun. Kind
yeah,
of SmackDown versus which we were just talking about last night.
right.
Um,
And Owen Hart, like he did a lot of. It felt like, you know, his wrestling roots really showed, like his stuff from Mexico and Japan, and even like stuff
yeah,
that he did in Europe, because when he was like manipulating Austin's body parts, and you know, like you know, breaking his fingers, because like the idea was like that he's never gonna flip anybody ever again, and he's trying to break the fingers. Like I thought that like those moments there really made Owen look like not just a great wrestler, but a guy that could definitely be a top guy, you know? So I really thought that this was a
oh
great
yeah.
match, you know, and
Oh, this was
up until of course the tombstone spot.
yeah, and what's it called? Even like you said, like it did, and there was a lot of realism,
Hmm.
but at the same time, even the spots where they ran the ropes, like nobody. Ah, man, they were just so good. Like even the running the rope spot,
Hmm.
like nobody ran the ropes better than Stone Cold and Owen at that time.
Right.
You know,
And this is one of the things that really start to appreciate Austin in, because back then I like to watch Austin's matches, but I never really appreciated the way he wrestled. And now looking back, it's like fuck, the dude just a magnificent wrestler. Even with all the injuries that stacked up, he still knew
yeah,
what to do in that ring. How he runs the
this,
ropes, how he delivers those punches. Everything that he did was meticulous and
yeah,
really, yeah. It's like, you know, he was such aware of everything that he did. You know,
yeah. It was a lot of realism, like you said, and Bret Hart too. Bret Hart's matches, just a lot of realism. But
yeah,
what's it called? And Owen, you could see picked up from that. But yeah, unfortunately, the ending of the match. I guess I'll let you cover that.
yeah. So the ending of the match, okay, they went for, you know, they went for the tombstone spot, okay. Like Austin Irish whipped Owen, went for like a tilt a whirl, then Owen reversed it into the tombstone, and when he had him up there, it felt like Owen didn't know what to really do. He's like, okay, what should we do now? And then it felt like it was like, you know, an instinctive moment. It wasn't like, you know, okay, I'm gonna hit this tombstone, because Austin was way down. You can see his head way lower than it's supposed to be when you're delivering a tombstone, especially a seated tombstone pile driver. Um, so
Yeah, his head was way lower than it should have been.
it was way lower. So Austin really
Yes.
didn't know what to expect. He was like, should I prepare myself for a tombstone? It's like, what is he about to do? Is it like going to be? Is it? Am I supposed to reverse it because you saw his legs kicking in the air? It's like, okay,
Yeah.
what am I supposed to do? So then Owen like drives him down, you know, a seated pile driver style, and that's when everything just, you know, um, it just went up in shambles. It was like, what the fuck did we just say? Um,
Yeah.
and
It
and
was.
like
It
oh,
was.
and Owen was stalling. It's like, you know, he was like, okay, what should we do? And Earl is checking up on him. And Austin, like he even said this many times when he's asked about this. Is like he was paralyzed, like at this moment. Like he felt like he
Yeah.
couldn't move his left side of his body. Um, and it was like it's so crazy. Like he not only could have ended his career right then and there, but really could have been wheelchair bound.
Yeah, he definitely it definitely changed. He was definitely
Mhm.
not the same after that. Although he would go on to have great matches, especially his match. Well, I was going to say especially his match with Shawn Michaels at
Mhm.
WrestleMania, but as we know, Shawn Michaels' back was not in great shape during that match. But what's it called? Yeah, that definitely was the match that changed Austin's career.
Right.
Um,
It definitely did.
if he didn't, if that spot didn't happen, he may not have had to retire as early as he did.
Sure. Like,
Um,
and not just that, but I do think like when you get such a huge injury, it could be like one of those. Um, it could be one of those that you could search for the silver lining, and the silver lining is that Austin then worked smarter after this.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, he knew what to
yeah,
do. He knew his limitations because at this time he was going ball to the wall. Even with like a hurt knee, he still like went at it like 110%. But then after this injury, he really knew what to do and what not to do, and not just that, but the way that he was booked after this, they really knew how to protect him.
yes, absolutely.
So yeah, great match. Despite the ending, I even as a kid, I was like, I was trying to, when you see something like really really fake, but you're still trying to defend it, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm watching this and I'm like, hey, Owen banged the back of his head on the canvas. That's the reason why, he was pinned. I was trying to justify this as much as I can. And I remember at school, like when kids would be like, oh, wrestling is fake, wrestling is fake. I'm like, it's not fake. It's the realest thing in the world. And
Right.
and then they were like, okay, how do you explain that? And I'm like, well, he banged the back of his head, so of course he got knocked out.
hmm
So
I
yeah.
just I remember being there and people were like, oh, everyone stood up. Everyone like stood up on their chairs and was trying to like see. And people were like, Austin is hurt, Austin is hurt. And I was like, Marks, because at the time I thought I was like the biggest smart mark in the world. Um, so yeah, I was like Mark, and then I was like, oh, he really is hurt. And then the roll up happened, and it was probably the worst finish to any WWF match I've ever seen.
hmm Um, yeah, like I do think so as well because it was one of the worst definitely. And I tend to kind of agree with you that this was probably one of the I wouldn't say it was the match of the night because I do think the main event was just such a great match.
hmm
Um, and it's so tough to really put any match like on top of this. And even like the story behind it. Um, Brett, the stipulation was that if Brett lost, if he didn't win the WWF title, and I remember that this was leading up to this, like during one of the interviews that Vince had with Brett was that okay, so the stipulation says, and Brett says like if I don't if I don't win my match, that means I will never wrestle in the United States ever again. And it's like, well, to be clear, it's not if you win the match, if you don't win the title. And
Right.
then he's like, yeah, exactly. Well, that's fine. You want to stack the deck against me? I'm absolutely fine with that. Even though that it was Brett's idea to come up with that stipulation, you know.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. That didn't make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and not just that, but this stipulation was actually for King of the Ring that same year because if you remember, it was supposed to be Brett versus Sean, And if Brett couldn't beat Sean in under 10 minutes, he will never wrestle in
Yes,
American
I
soil
missed
ever
it.
again.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah, I really miss what's it called, stipulations like that.
yeah, I love stipulations like that, dude. It just adds more to the stakes for like a match like that, or a feud like that. Because
Right.
how many times are you going to wrestle? Okay, we're going to wrestle a regular match. The next week they have a regular match. The third week they have a regular match, and at the pay-per-view they have a rubber match. It's like, what? Come on.
Yeah. Right, exactly. That's when
Yeah.
you should have the stipulation. Yeah.
Exactly, so I do think that I really do miss stipulations like that where it makes things more fresh rather
Yeah.
than okay, we're gonna have a street fight, or okay, we're gonna have a cage match, okay, we're gonna have it's like it feels like the stipulations are so limited that those aren't the only options that they have when they're like, hey, you're the ones that are in control, you can do whatever the fuck you want, be more creative, you know
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
so yeah.
Um,
Okay, so Undertaker's. Okay, before we get into this, let's talk about
mhm.
Undertaker's title reign. What do you think of his title
Okay.
reign?
Uh, mediocre at best.
Hmm.
Um, kind of forgettable. Not
Hmm.
memorable, I should say. Not forgettable, but not memorable either. One of those things was kind of like, they hot potato with the belt
Hmm.
so much those couple of years. Especially '97. I mean, it went from uh, Taker to Sid, and then back to Brett, and then Sean, and then Brett, and then Taker, and then Sid.
Yeah, it was first. It was with Sid going up in the beginning of the year. Then Sean won at the
Yeah,
Rumble. Then he lost
yeah,
his smile.
right. Forfeited.
Yeah, he then we had that over the top four way that Brett
Yeah,
won, and then the next night Sid won it, and then at Mania Undertaker won it, and then
yeah,
now Brett wins it back. But
yeah,
this is like the
yeah.
longest title reign of the year because Undertaker held it from Mania to SummerSlam, which is like 4 months.
Wow, wow. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So like I do agree. Like Undertaker's, this was probably the worst, like one of the worst WWF title reigns that I can recall because the title was such, because I sometimes gripe on, Seth Rollins or, Kevin Owens or those
yeah,
guys, but at least they would come out and acknowledge the title. During Undertaker's reign, the title was always in the back burner because the whole storyline, the storylines that were going on while he had the title was him against Paul Bearer, him against Mankind, him against Vader.
yeah, yeah. You're right. The
Kane
title
is
didn't
alive.
matter.
You know,
Hmm. Hmm.
it's like
Right,
none of those, like none of the matches really, uh, you know, um, like what's the word? Like it never really focused on the championship. Like Mankind never came out and was like, "I want the WWF title," or Vader said
right,
like, "I want that championship. I want to be, the number one guy because I know I can beat the Undertaker." It was all like,
right.
we want to beat the dead man, and that's it. You know.
Hmm. Hmm. And honestly, I don't think Taker needed the title at that time.
Sure.
I really
Actually,
don't.
yeah, I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree because, Undertaker, at that time, I will say this: Undertaker in the '90s was what Andre was in the '80s and the '70s.
Hmm.
Yeah, he was the special attraction that you didn't need to see every
Right,
week, and every time you saw
right.
him, he was special. He's the kind of guy
Yeah,
that really doesn't need a title because he, in himself, is larger than any championship that there is.
right. Yeah, he's the
So,
Brock Lesnar of now. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. So I
or of
do
then.
think that him with the championship was a cool moment, but at the same time, it was like he really didn't need it. Like there are other wrestlers that
Taker,
really needed the championship.
Taker definitely had better title reigns in the mid 2000s when he had the World Heavyweight Championship.
Definitely,
Um, I definitely think that those title reigns, you know, I think he didn't he have one really major feud with Edge
he did
back in
in
like
2008. Right.
06, 07? Yeah, 2008. Okay, in 2008, that was
Hmm.
an awesome feud. You know, I really liked his feud with Edge in
Right, and it
2008.
revolved around the title.
Yeah, exactly. So
Right.
Taker definitely had better. It was not his worst title reign. His worst title reign was probably when he beat Hogan for the title, and then
And
lost it to
lost
Hogan
it lost it 2 days later.
days later. That was
Hmm.
definitely his worst title reign.
Hmm. Which is
This
understandable,
Tuesday,
yeah. But like at the same
it's
time, like
massive.
but at the same time, I'm at the mindset of if you don't have like a month long title reign, then that's not really a title reign. If it's like a couple of days,
Sure.
then I do think that
Yeah,
that's much more of a storyline progression, if that makes any sense.
belt warming. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not really a title reign. It's like with Kane when he won the
Mhm.
title and then the next night he lost it. It's like that's not really a title reign.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So the match itself: Bret Hart versus The Undertaker.
Oh,
First off, we
should we
had
go into the main event?
yeah, like Sean was the special guest referee. Bret Hart, he came out and they played the Canadian national anthem, and
Yes.
um, and then we had Undertaker come out and with his great entrance that took 5 days to finish. Um, and then this is to me. I'll always say this. My favorite Undertaker is like the Purple Gloves Undertaker, but to me, the definitive Undertaker is at around this time, late 96, 97 ish, when he has this look. I think this is like when the Undertaker is like the Undertaker, if you will. You know,
Yeah. Oh yeah, except for the teardrop tattoo.
Undertaker is absolute gangster, dude. Like when he came out with that
He's
teardrop.
not supposed to be gangster.
Yeah, because the weird thing is, you do know what the teardrop means, right?
Doesn't it have to do with Sarah or something? I forget.
No, no. A teardrop is when you're when usually
Oh,
guys who've been in jail, usually get that.
right.
So a teardrop means like they've killed somebody.
Hmm.
Yeah. So if they got multiple teardrops, like imagine multiple teardrops, like oh my god, this guy's really sad. It's like
Why are you crying, bro?
I'm not crying. I killed many people. I'll kill you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna fucking kill you. It's like why is that bulldog? It's like
Oh man.
then Savio Vega does a run
So
in.
dun 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 dun
Okay,
dun.
so
So what do you think of the match?
okay, so okay, before we get into this, I want to speculate a little bit more on the teardrop because
Okay.
Paul Bearer. Okay, so
How
Paul
many
Bearer.
stole the
Okay,
Undertaker?
okay, so Paul Bearer did say like, I've got this big secret that I have to that I'm going to reveal, and then he did reveal it. I do believe like after, no, it was before SummerSlam, like when he said he's alive, and stuff like that. Kane told
Right.
me,
Your brother's
um,
alive. Your brother's
and,
alive, Undertaker.
yeah, and the
That's gotta
whole
be. That's gotta be Kane. That's gotta be Kane.
right, and I do remember like the segment that Paul Bearer did on Raw where he's like, Undertaker is a murderer. He killed his parents. So the
That's right.
teardrop kind of makes
Oh, that's
sense.
cool. That does make sense. You're right, but what did he go to jail for?
Well, he was a kid, and it was an accident. He
He went
burned.
to juvie.
Yeah,
He went to juvie.
yeah, and the house burnt down accidentally because he was playing with matches. So he was a kid, and then I guess Paul Bearer took him in.
Hmm.
So it kind of makes sense, with the teardrop and everything.
Yeah,
But they never came out and explained it. So it's just my speculation. I'm not like, oh yeah, that's the absolute reason why he did that. Like, yeah.
that does kind of make sense.
Yeah.
All right. So, all right. So let's. Do you mind if I introduce it?
Sure.
All right. So, let's go to the main event. All right.
We're such marks for OSW.
Just picture like a Gene Okerlund graphic.
Yeah, it's good. The main event. And now it's time for your main event. Yeah, okay. So
And what?
the
What a pop! And and what did you think of this main event?
to me, I really love this main event. It really is one of the best SummerSlam main events that I've
Yeah.
seen. And I love how here's the thing. And I'm pretty sure like some people, if they watch this match, are probably gonna think, oh my god, this is boring and stuff like that. But what they don't realize is matches should be like they start off, lukewarm, and then you slowly build up, to to the big spots. It shouldn't be like, oh my god, this happens and this crazy things happen, and then then the fans go down a bit and then it go back up. No, you should build up to it so that
Right. Right.
the main moments at the end, the key moments in the match, get the loudest reactions.
Mhm.
Give the fans a chance to pace themselves because they're as much of a part of the match as the wrestlers in the ring. So
Right.
when you slowly build it up and you slowly get the fans onto this ride, and not just that, but the ring psychology is great. I love the fact that Bret Hart, every time he tries to get the sharpshooter on, tries to do something on, tries to put a submission hold on the Undertaker. Undertaker powers out, so Bret Hart has like this giant hill to climb. And at the same time, he's like doing a lot of the beginning of this match. He tried to cheat. Ambush the Undertaker with the steel with the championship, and didn't give Undertaker a chance to get out of his robe, and really do a lot of he did a lot of dirty tactics, but Undertaker would just keep on powering out, powering out. I love this match. This is such a great match, such an old school, and I do think every person who wants to get into wrestling and um, wants to learn more about ring psychology should watch this match.
Oh yeah, definitely. I was definitely going to bring up the ring psychology and that this is just fantastic in this. Really believable. All of his punches, incredibly believable. Taker at the time was just Taker. The way that Taker should be remembered.
Mhm.
This to me is don't think of Taker in his match against CM Punk. Don't think of Taker in his match against Mark Henry or against Brock Lesnar. Think of this Taker. Like when you remember, don't remember his TNA stuff. Remember him. Um, you know,
Undertaker was in TNA.
no, Ric Flair.
Oh, okay. I was lost. I was lost for a second. I was like, while you're
No,
describing
not
this,
not.
I while you're describing this, I spaced out and I was actually imagining the whole
Uh-huh,
thing. Like, yeah, him against Mark Henry. That was a garbage match. Yeah,
right.
and then I'm like, what TNA?
What? It's the what would his TNA name be? Like it's the Taker Under. The Taker Under is here at TNA. You
Yeah,
know,
man, perhaps something like that. Yeah, for sure.
um, but this is the Taker that you want to remember. This was, no pun intended, old school Taker. The way that Taker should definitely be remembered.
Hmm.
There's a couple of things that bothered me. Like, for example, Brett just seemed like kind of winded during this match, and he seemed kind of winded early on. You can see that he was kind of gasping for air kind of early, but he played a great heel in this match. You can see he was definitely trying to get over as a heel. Um, and then the Hart Foundation gets involved,
Hmm.
and I was like, oh, okay, they're building towards the finish because the Hart Foundation is getting involved. No, it went on like what, like 10, 15 minutes after the interference.
Yeah, Undertaker like went out to the ring and beat the shit out of them. Like they didn't even interfere.
Yeah, right. They're kind of like kind of like the Nation did during their match, or during the Boricua
Well, the Nation actually
uh,
interfered. Like if you remember, Ahmed was a part of the finish.
that's true. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, so Undertaker just goes out and he just fucking beats the shit out of Hart Foundation.
Hmm.
And just takes them all out. And then I think Sean got out of the ring and Sean went to take care of things. He
Hmm.
went to like, make sure that the Nation was out. And of course, when Sean was distracted, that's when Brett cheated. You
Hmm.
know, but it wasn't even like, oh, he's cheating, and now we're going to go to the finish. It went on after that, and just Taker was doing like the leg drops off the ropes, and old school, and like he was doing everything. Like this was just classic Taker.
Hmm.
And of course, the figure four spot on the turnbuckle. Um, yeah, and
Paul Bearer coming out.
even Paul Bearer coming out. Yeah, this was just like everything about this match just reeked of like Attitude Era.
Right.
It was really good. It was really, really good. I
Hmm.
I I don't know if it was match of the night. I might put Austin Owen like a hair above it,
Hmm.
but very, very good. Excellent match. Definitely maybe Brett and Taker's best match.
Perhaps, yeah. I would say that, yeah. It definitely in conversation when it comes to Bret versus Undertaker matches because they did have like a bunch of great matches against each other. Um,
Yeah.
and Undertaker, dude, like Undertaker, whenever he's motivated, that's when he has his best matches. Because there are some times where he's like you can tell like he's phoning it in, like he's not really into the match. And he's like just doing his regular spots where it's like, okay, I'm gonna choke this guy, I'm gonna choke slam, old school, then do the tombstone. That's it, go home.
Brett.
But here he's working his ass off. In this
Yeah.
match, the dude was working his ass off. Bret Hart was working his ass off. The dude had like because he just came out of he got his knee scoped like
Hmm.
a month prior,
Mhm.
and he came back, still a great wrestler, and he was really trying to pace himself in this match, um, and this match was so great. Like everybody, like Undertaker was working his ass off. Bret Hart was working his ass off. Shawn Michaels was working his ass off as a ref.
Yeah.
Everybody was working their asses off, dude. Everybody after this match had no ass.
Right.
Like
Everyone
everybody pretty much looked like the Big Show, like with no ass.
in the Big Show Okabono, what was that,
Mhm.
Akabono match? Yeah.
Yeah, like I was watching this match and I was working my ass off, just like being so invested.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Now, a couple of things, like Sean, like he wanted to get very involved in this match.
mhm.
Not even like storyline wise, but you can tell like, oh, I'm gonna put myself in front of the camera here, and I'm
Mhm.
gonna make sure I'm on hard camera here. He was a little bit
Yeah,
distracting.
He was like the whole point, because the whole point of a special guest referee is to be the wild card in the match. Like he should play
Right.
up a part of this match. So I think that's the reason why he should have been there, because a regular ref should never be, it shouldn't the best types of refs are the ones that are never noticed in a match.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but when it comes to a special guest referee, it's kind of like the steel cage. It should always play into the match.
Hmm.
So yeah, so Sean,
Definitely, without a doubt.
yeah, so Sean, Sean mugging in front of the camera, anything like that, or overselling stuff, it
Yeah.
added to the match because he's really doing his job, and not just that, it really meant more afterwards when he turned heel, because it was like, okay, looking back, that really makes a lot of sense.
One, two. It doesn't matter if The Rock counts to three.
Oh, dude, I love that. I love that. It
Yeah.
was
Always
was
one
the
of my favorites.
was the Rock the only guy to ever be a special guest referee and never actually wear a referee shirt?
Mankind had like a makeshift referee shirt. It wasn't even a referee shirt. It was just like a striped shirt.
Well, at
It was
least it
like a
had
striped.
stripes. At least it had stripes. Like Rock was not even like hiding it. He came out with a black shirt. It was like, oh, I'm the
Yeah.
special guest ref. Like, where's the proof?
Right. Exactly. Or I like that thing of oh no, the referee's knocked out, so I'm just gonna get in the ring and put the ref shirt on and count to three. Like putting a ref shirt on doesn't make you a referee. Like you didn't go to school, you didn't take the classes. No, you're not a referee.
You don't have a referee's license. I
You don't
love
have
back then.
referees.
Dude,
Yeah.
dude, I love it back then when everything you got to have a license for. You have to have a license to be a manager. You have to have a license to be a wrestler. I
And you
remember
could
like,
only have one or the other. You couldn't
yeah,
have both.
exactly. Yeah, I love that, dude. I absolutely love that, and I really think that they should bring that back. Yeah, dude. Like if they would bring that back, it's like you don't. Hey, you're not allowed to be at ringside. It's like, but I have a referee's license that's going to expire in 24 hours. It's like, I love that.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Or hey, you got kicked out of the arena. Just buy a ticket, and then you're in the front row, and you get involved in the match. And then the referee comes over, and you're like, or security comes over, and you're like, I have a ticket.
Mhm.
Like, how many times do the outsiders do that? You know?
we got a ticket. We came to see the big boys play.
Look, it's clowns. Look, it's clowns. But
Oh, dude, I love those days, dude. Those were definitely the days.
all right, so take this one home.
All right. Brett goes for the sharpshooter. And then, Undertaker, I remember Undertaker like punches the shit out of him. I love those rapid fire punches that he used to do.
Oh yeah.
And then, that awesome spot that Brett always does whenever he gets Irish whipped into the corner, and then he just like goes chest first. I'm still trying to figure out. I'm still trying to figure out how he does that. The choke slam from the apron to the inside of the ring. I love that. The superplex
choke slam.
Yeah, the superplex spot that Undertaker got from Brett. Let's see. Undertaker powering out of the sharpshooter while Brett is, he delivers the sharpshooter. Then he just throws him out of the ring. It's like, oh my god, the leg strength. Let's see. Brett going for the sharpshooter in the corner, and Undertaker powers out again, and Brett falls on top of Shawn out of the ring. Then Brett goes for the steel chair, hits waffles. Undertaker on the dome, which is a complete no-no in this day and age. But back then, you can hit a guy with a meat cleaver. Who cares?
And I love the psychology behind this. Like, Shawn Michaels, I'm going to do everything I can to screw Brett, and I end up helping, Brett win. I love that.
Well, actually, Shawn was like, I'm gonna play this, as fair as I can possible, because the storyline was that if Sean didn't call it right down the middle, he wouldn't
Right
get.
down the middle. I love
Yeah,
that. Every special guest referee always said that. I'm going to call it right down the middle.
yeah. And one of the best lines
Right down.
was one of the best lines that I think that special guest referee ever did was Mr. Anderson in TNA was like, I'm gonna be, I'm gonna be the special guest referee, and I will. You don't have to worry about anything because I'm gonna call it right down the middle, you know, just like an asshole would.
Right.
Yeah, I love that line. So okay,
Um,
so like Sean had to call it right down the middle, and leading up to this, Sean was like, because he was not booked for SummerSlam, he was like, I'll do whatever it takes. I'll sell tickets. I'll sell popcorn. I'll be at the merchandise stand. And then Vince McMahon is like, okay, there is just one thing that's left, and that is Earl Hebner is not going to referee the main event because he already has a lot on his plate. So how about you, Sean? How about you become a special guest referee? And then Brett comes out. It's like, oh my god, everybody's screwing me. It's like he sounds like a porn star. Like everybody's screwing me. It's like,
yeah.
You're screwing me. Everybody's screwing me. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it. I'm the best wrestler in here. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it. It's like, shut the fuck up, dude.
The best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. And if you don't like it, tough shit.
Yeah, I love that, dude. Looking back, I love it. But when I was watching Brett at the time when I was younger, I was like, oh, shut the fuck up.
Right. What a bitch. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was a great heel because I would say like, oh my god, he's bitching so much. But then when I'm watching his matches, I'm like, oh, dude, the dude is the greatest. Yeah. So okay.
So
Sean is like, afterwards, after Sean came back into the ring, he's like, he saw the steel chair, in the ring, and he was like, "Did you use this?" And it's like, "Me? No, I didn't do that. No." And then it's like, no,
Yeah,
you did use
no.
it. You did use it. It's like, I can see it's bent, and it's like, I'm gonna disqualify you right now. And then Brett is like, "Fuck you," and then he spit right in his face, and then you can see the phlegm just oozing off of his face. Yeah. And then he tried to hit Brett. Brett ducked, and then right into Undertaker's face. And as Undertaker was going down, you can kind of see he was bleeding a little bit. Undertaker was the worst when it came to that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So Brett won, I guess, his 5th WWE title.
Yep, that was his 5th. And his final.
Yeah. Right. This was his final WWF title, but not his last WWE championship.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
So
he would go on to win the United States Championship in 2010.
Yeah. So take that with a grain of salt, man. Like, fuck, Brett winning the U.S. title in his late 50s.
Yeah.
So okay,
it was not good.
Yeah, so Brett wins. He will continue to wrestle in U.S. soil, and for the next couple of years, I guess. And that's pretty much it, dude. Like the match was great. I love the match. And I love the fact that as soon as Undertaker came to, he's like, "Where the fuck is Sean?" and Brett is celebrating, and then the camera pans back to Undertaker, and he's got his eyes rolled back. He's like, "Ugh." Yeah.
And then about 2 months later, I want to say, we got the match. We got Taker and Sean. I believe it was Bad Blood.
Yeah, it was Bad Blood, and actually the show that we'll cover next, Ground Zero, did have Undertaker versus Shawn as well.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, which was their, I guess, their first meeting.
Okay, I know nothing about Ground Zero. I know their Bad Blood match obviously much better because it was the first ever Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah. And considered to be the best, I guess.
It was, yeah. Oh, definitely. The best Hell in a Cell match.
Hmm. Some people consider it being the best
Mm,
Hell in a Cell match ever ever booked.
nah. Bully and Taker was definitely better, in my opinion.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to
But
that. So, yeah,
we'll
I
get to we'll get to both. But we'll get to Bad Blood probably in a couple months.
for sure.
But
So yeah, the SummerSlam show overall, I thought it was a great show.
mhm,
I do think it's one of the better SummerSlam pay-per-views.
yeah.
And really, I do think that I would recommend it. Would you recommend it?
Oh, definitely. Oh, I would say this is definitely one of my favorite SummerSlams, not just because I was there.
Mhm.
It was a little, in my opinion, overbooked in terms of gimmick matches. It
Mhm.
seemed like, the only matches that weren't gimmick matches were the tag match. By the way,
Right.
no tag titles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
no, no tag title match.
Because Stone Cold was one half of the tag team champions, and Sean. It was weird because Sean was like, "I am one half of the tag team champions, but only if Stone Cold will agree to it." Well, motherfucker, you won the tag titles with him.
Right,
It's like,
right.
what the fuck?
Yeah, yeah. So no tag titles. Only one tag match, which was the LOD and Godwins.
Hmm.
That was not a gimmick match. And then I guess the 4-on-4 match wasn't really a gimmick match, but it kind of was a gimmick match. Other than that, everything was a gimmick match. So yeah, a bit of overbooking in
Hmm.
terms of gimmick matches, but still really good, really solid pay per view. Saying that because I was there. Um, but Owen and Austin really strong. Taker and Brett really good.
Hmm.
Um, Pillman and Goldust was kind of forgettable. Shamrock and Bulldog was a letdown, other than Shamrock snapping and um, the ending, and then I guess the somewhat decent Mankind and Hunter Hearst Helmsley match, which was good, but I think better in person. But yeah, the last two matches. Oh, by the way, that was something else that kind of bothered me. It really irked me actually when I was rewatching this. I was like, "Ooh, two title matches back to back." Like, why didn't they put the LOD Godwins or 4-on-4 match in between the two? You know what I mean? As
Hmm.
like a buffer. Like, I hate when they do the IC title match and then the world title match.
Hmm.
Like the tag title match and then the world title match. Like it's just kind of like I don't know why that irks me, but it does.
Well, I tend to agree with that because you knew, like, right after the Intercontinental title match, you had the video packages, you had the long entrances, you had the
Yeah,
Canadian national anthem, so
that's true.
there was enough space in between those matches. That's like, yeah, you know what, it's good to have a good, two major title matches back to back. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, for me, I really enjoyed this show. Um, I really liked the two main events. Really delivered. You had the opening
It,
match,
it
which I thought was probably the third best match on the card. I
hmm,
really thought, yeah, I thought the cage match was. I liked it better than you did. The
hmm,
LOD versus Godwin match was a good tag match. And the 4-on-4 was passable, but the two matches that we talked about were the weakest. They
yeah.
were still fun. So they weren't that long. So even if you didn't like it, it went by really fast. So an
Yeah,
easy watch, and I would recommend it for sure.
definitely. And I remember one guy as we were leaving, saying, "Oh, this is definitely going to set up Shawn Michaels and Undertaker to fight." And I was like, "Oh yeah, it is."
Hmm. Right.
Yep, and it
So
did.
it definitely did. And it was weird because Undertaker, like, he completely forgot about the WWF title after that. You know.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
completely.
So okay,
But that was
I'm gonna do like a weird scaling thing. I'm not gonna do like from 1 to 10 or anything like that because I don't think
okay.
I do think it's kind of weird to rate something that this retro because it wasn't really made for this day of an age. It was made for
Sure.
'97.
Sure.
So, okay, here's my scale. Okay, would you
Okay.
would you rather buy this on VHS or
Hmm.
DVD,
Hmm.
Blu-ray, or would
Hmm.
you buy the network to watch it?
Huh. Would I buy the network to watch it, or would I watch it on the network?
Would you actually subscribe to the network to watch it?
Hmm. I would say this is a so okay. So VHS is the lowest, DVD, and then Blu-ray, and then network being the highest.
Yeah, and the lowest I guess would be to I guess watch it for free online.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um, I would say this is a network subscription. Yeah, this is higher tier. Yeah, definitely.
cool. All right. I would say buy it on DVD, like in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah, because you had three
Uh-huh.
great matches, but I think everything else was, either passable or anything like that. You know.
Hmm. Okay.
So, all right. With that being said, rate, comment, favorite, how please subscribe and join the group, the variety vendor group, and join the Working Heels. And where can they find you, Adam? Because I really miss your channel.
Oh, thank you. You can find me on PSN.
Hmm.
Um, Diffman 731.
Hmm.
Um, if you want to play Call of Duty. Um,
What are your games of choice when it comes to PSN?
let's see, Mortal Kombat XL, Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto 5. Um, I'm going to be picking up Injustice 2 very shortly, so that's going to be fun.
Nice.
Oh, and of course, MLB The Show. Thanks, Weston.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, he didn't buy me the game. I'm just saying thanks, Weston, because he got me into it.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, mostly the show, GTA, and and what's it called? I guess Injustice 2, which I haven't picked up yet. But no, in terms of YouTube, um, I don't really have anything to plug right now for that's YouTube related.
Well, you're always welcome. And I'm really looking forward to our next, review together. We're going to be
Mhm.
reviewing Ground Zero.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, it should be fun.
one night. Remember
I
one
don't know
night
anything
only.
about it. What's that?
One night only. The show that happened in England.
Oh, one night only. That's right. Okay, not one night stand.
No, no, not one night stand.
Or two night stand, or December to dismember.
Oh no!
No,
Oh
we don't.
God, no!
We don't.
Forget about that.
We don't. We don't talk about December to dismember.
Yeah, talk about a
That was
time capsule that should stay buried. That should be
yeah.
it.
That
I
was
rather
definitely
I
adult.
rather I rather watch the segment with Sable and Sonny and the money
Oh,
thing. Yeah,
and Joe,
yeah, for 2 hours rather than
stop,
watch December to
stop wiggling
December.
it. I mean the paper. Yeah.
It's
Um. Anyway.
yeah. So
Yeah. So
with
that's
that being
pretty
said,
much.
Raycon favorite, happily subscribe and check out our next video. We'll be talking about something else.